Hey guys, what is up? It's Cinderash here showing you another build for Damnation on patch 13 post the class update preview. So, we got new skill trees, we got new classes for those people and everything else, and I have really started to love Ogryn. There's a lot of different and good playstyles for him, but the one that I'm going to showcase to you guys is my Ogryn build. And I really like this one, and I hope you guys like it and you guys enjoy it too. As always, I will be going over everything that is good for this class, what you could do with it, and then of course showing you a Damnation gameplay afterwards, with me going in with pugs and randoms with nobody that I know. So, here we go. Starting off, we're going to go with the talents. Now, more often than not, you're going to not be level 30 when you get to these kind of classes, but you want to rush there. And in no particular order, you could take a lot of these and be perfectly fine. But we'll start with reloaded and ready. Obviously, gun damage for on a reload, really good. Toughness regeneration while bracing your ranged weapons. That basically just means you're aiming down sight, but for Ogryn, it could be pulling out the little stick on the side and holding it, aka bracing it. You're going to want to get heavyweight, which gives you bonus damage against the bulwarks, crushers, plague ogres, and reapers. And then obviously 30% damage reduction against them. Always really good. Sad it got nerfed that it did. It used to be 50, now it's 30. But hey, it is what it is. Linchpin, toughness replenished while on coherency. Always good. You always want to be with your teammates anyway. Toughness boost. And then frag bomb. Always really good. Highly recommend. You can use it to clear out a bunch of enemies around a zealot that goes down, around a veteran, anything that happens during hordes. Really good to help clear it out immediately so you don't have to worry about it. As such, I will say be incredibly greedy when it comes to grenades. These are a game changer and a lifesaver for runs. Next up, soften them up. Enemies damaged by you take 50% more damage for 5 seconds. Always good. Toughness damage reduction. This one can be grabbed immediately or saved for later. Same with the toughness boost. It all depends on how you're playing at the moment as you're leveling, if you're following this guide as you level instead of being at 30. I prefer taking the toughness boost, but the toughness damage reduction is always very good as well if you decide to go this way and then back down, or this way and down. We're doing point blank barrage. We're going to swap to and reload a ranged weapon. 25% rate of fire, 70% reload speed for the next 10 seconds. Very good. Obviously, you want to take the ability modifier, Bullet Bravado. While in point blank range, barrage is active. Replenish 2% toughness for every shot fired and 10% toughness on each reload. Really, really good. And then, obviously, we want thick of the fray. We want to remove 50% of the brace movement speed penalties, gain 50% close range damage while it's active. Always really good. You can, of course, take rending to your ranged attacks, which is also really, really good against crushers. But realistically, you should have a team that is also running rending already. So that way they take care of the crushers really, really quickly. But if you feel like your teams are lacking in that rending category, definitely recommend Hail of Fire instead. And then the last one, range attacks apply 3 stacks of burn. That's okay. The burn is better suited on veterans if you're going to play a veteran and use burns, as well as on psychers. So this one, you could probably cross this one off immediately. So any of these two is really good. Next, we're going to go down to the reload boost, obviously reload speed. Both of these are really good. You should obviously take both of them. Pacemaker is better for the gun that I use. So you can either take this, or you can obviously take Ammo Stash. I'm taking both just because of the weapon that I have. But if you are not using something like that, I wouldn't recommend, like a Ripper gun, wouldn't recommend taking Pacemaker, and you can skip this and put it somewhere else. Range damage boost, obviously, and then Coward's Calling. 20% damage against suppressed enemies for you and allies in coherency. Really good. Recommend it. Anything that causes suppression, or if you have a team that does suppression builds, especially Psyker. Psyker's really good at suppression right now and has been for the past couple of patches. Highly recommend it, and you should take it. Obviously, 10% toughness damage reduction, and then this node, another 15% toughness. You could take this kind of as you go. Again, if you don't need this toughness damage reduction, or if you don't want this point, I always recommend putting it into melee. You can also put it into a health boost if you want. There's a lot of small perk bonuses that you could take whenever you decide not to take certain nodes in this build, and I don't blame you for a lot of them, but they are very useful to stick into these other ones. Next up, obviously, coherency radius. You want to make sure you're always in coherency. 20 move speed, 2 seconds on a range kill, stacks with our braced movement. Big boom, again, increasing that explosion radius from 16 meters to about pretty much where it says right there. It's going to be about 22.5 radius. And then killing enemies grants 1% critical chance for 6 seconds. That stacks 8 times. Critical chance is always nice. A lot of the weapons on Ogryn sadly don't have a lot of crit, but it is what it is. Suppression boost. Obviously, suppression, you want to make sure you're suppressing as many people as you can. 15% reduced damage while bracing a ranged weapon. Always very good. Ranged damage, and then obviously you're taking everything down here in this node. You know, everything that has to do with lucky bullets, anything to not consume ammo and making ranged attacks, you know, crits, better chance at the crits, you know, ability cooldown reduction, so that way you're back at using your ability as fast as possible. You know, all that's really, really good and really, really nice. This works best with the heavy stubber. I personally don't mind the heavy stubber, but I do have a really good roll on a ripper gun that I've been using, and I still feel like it performs just as well, if not a little bit better, depending on how you're using it. Next, we'll go to our loadouts. Now, I know my loadout is going to seem a little bit weak, especially with my melee, but this is your best melee if you're going to ranged build. The Bull Butcher is just overall a really good weapon. So, I have it where I have damage against flak armor enemies. Realistically, you should be shooting flax and stuff like that. If I had a chance to reroll this and make it better, or I find a better version later on, you're going to want 25% damage to unarmored and 25% damage to infested enemies. You're going to be want to using this specifically for clearing out mob enemies. You're not going to want to be using this for the big targets or anything like that. Again, these are the two best blessings for it, though. If you can, Savage Sweep. You want to make sure that's a tier 4. I sadly only have a tier 3. And same with the Momentum. I only have a tier 2. Again, if you could get a tier 4, even better. But hitting at least, you know, that many enemies will restore a lot of toughness. And again, you're only really going to want to be using this during mob waves and not necessarily during a bunch of specials or elites or anything like that. So this is more or less your backup. The lights on it work perfectly well, but if you want to do heavy sweeps, you know, it does both. And I would say this is probably your best melee, unless you're doing, again, slab and shield, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be a taunt tree, entirely different. But if you want that build for the unkillable Ogryn, just let me know and I'll make it for you and I'll let you guys see it and I'll showcase it. Next up, Forend Mark II Ripper Gun. Again, you want Carapace for this, you want Flak for this, you want to make sure you're doing as much damage to those guys as possible. Tier 4 Blessings, really good, really good. Suppress Barrage, obviously suppressing enemies. It's the name of the game, that's our goal, so that way we do as much damage as possible. And Inspiring Barrage, we gain toughness for every 10% of the magazine spent during continuous fire. Stacks to 5 times, and because we're going to be using it with our ultimate, you're basically going to be really, really hard to kill while you're in your Ripper Gun and you're, you know, shooting down range at these guys. Next up are the Curios. These are about the best Curios that I could come across, and they're probably the best ones I'm going to stay with. Just because the way toughness works is a little bit weird. We're going with max health, and we're avoiding toughness altogether. So you're going to want combat agility, regeneration, obviously very good. Damage resist against mutants because your dodge isn't the greatest, so they can still grab you compared to a lot of the other classes who can really easily dodge them now. Damage resistant to bombers because, again, bombers are motherfuckers and you're a little slow. It'll be hard to get away from them. So any damage resistance against them is going to be good. And like in the other video of my Zealot video, some of these do not stack, so it's best to just have one of them and leave it as is. You won't get 60% damage resistance against one type of enemy. It just doesn't work that way. I don't know why. Fat Shark is kind of a weird company, and they make some really weird decisions that I'll talk about in a different video. So, Scripture, again, 20% max health. Tox Flamers, Curio is a reward mission. If I could have gotten rid of that one, I would have. I would probably put on Corruption Resistance as a total. And then, obviously, damage resistance against Gunners. Last one, again, Snipers. I got to change that one for Mutants to Poxhounds and then Corruption Resistance. And since I already said for the other one that I would put Corruption Resistance on that, instead I would change it to something like Toughness overall. Alright, so interestingly enough, we have one of every class here, so this should be pretty fun. So as you can see, we're on Magistrate Oblique, which is an assassination, it's Damnation. Just want to make sure that, you know, when I do these live commentaries while I play, you guys can, you know, see I'm not trying to bullshit you or anything like that. So if you guys don't like the live commentary, because you'll probably hear me clicking a lot on my keyboard, you're more than welcome to mute and just kind of see how the game, you know, plays out, but obviously, you know, you'll see how it plays out regardless. So we got a big guy up there, and even though we have a shotgun, if we brace it, we can force him to where he is. And you can see even at a massive disadvantage to our range, because it's a shotgun, you know, of over 15 meters, I was still able to pretty much crush him. Speaking of Crusher, we're just kind of pushing forward and just kind of offering suppression. Oh, I got hit by the dog that time. As you can see, he got hit with a Void Strike, so we're going to actually unload into him and then just kind of take the ammo as we come. Now, we have a horde coming in, so we should pause every motion that we're doing. They're coming in from behind. And even though we're over 50 meters away, if you keep hammering down, he should drop pretty quickly. Yep. And then because we have all these guys coming in, we actually want to swap to our melee. Now, we won't do as much damage to these guys just because, again, of our melee. But these guys are infested. They're pretty much how you're going to handle hordes without shooting into them, because you don't really want to waste your melee or your ammo on these little infested guys. They're not really worth it. It's better to just, you know, focus the melee. Now we have a dog. Focus the dog, and we're all good to go. We have a bunch more coming in, but I will hold the door for our teammates so that they could focus on the stuff in front. Just because I'll be better suited for just taking care of all these guys, just because I have such a large sweeping motion, and I just one-tap most of them. Now, obviously, if you aim for the head, you'll do a lot better than just aiming for the chest, but, you know, that's what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna kill the trapper. Got one guy here, and then we just keep going. An important thing to note is also know when you need to use your grenades, when to use braced, and when to just use point blank. Now, because there's just a bunch of that garbage, I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to use a grenade. Better than shooting all that ammo into, into the enemies. Saves you a headache, and then all we need to do now is just find another grenade. The hordes coming up should thankfully not be that big of an issue. Shoot the Poxburster back. It's better to push those guys back if you can. Save yourself some ammo, but I more or less was panicked. We got 2 muties coming in, so it's this one first. Oh, we have 3 coming in. So we shot into them, hopefully weakened them enough for, our other teammates, but that's fine. Please don't. Okay, thank you. So the thing with mutants is a lot of them still have the broken coding where they will throw you off the map. They're supposed to be designed to not throw you off the map anymore. So if you do get thrown off the map, blame Fat Shark. But realistically, you're not supposed to do that anymore. Thankfully, it didn't throw me off the map, but I probably would have still gotten thrown off the map anyway. As you can see, our Psyker is doing a lot of damage to these guys, even though it's not really necessary. I still think Psyker is best. Sorry, there's a Poxburster. I'm listening. There's also a Crusher. So there is a bomber up there, but I gotta focus on these guys first. They're the priority. Plus, it looks like our zealot took care of them already, so there's no need for that. We got another poxburster. So then we just focus it and blow it down. We also found another grenade somewhere, so that was also really good for us. In case things get pretty hectic with a bunch of grenaders, or just with a bunch of gunners in general. But for the most part, we should be okay. Alright, so there's the dog. I want to mark it for our team, just so they know, but you should be able to take care of a lot of these enemies on your own. I also accidentally shot that barrel and sent our zealot flying, but he's all good. I think he's running bleed crit, so he's not doing wounds. He's doing, you know, all that backstab damage and other garbage, but, you know, c'est la vie. You can play how you play, but I personally don't like knife zealot. Also, if you noticed, I bonked my ammo. If you're a sweat lord, notice that those will actually cause you to lose a couple of frames and may actually get you killed on higher difficulty. So the best you could do is kind of pray that it doesn't happen. It's really stupid that it was included, but canonically, lore-wise, it makes sense just because Ogryns are kind of not the brightest. Also, knowing when to swap from brace to big square is a big benefit to killing shit in melee. Well, I guess it would be in melee range, but with your gun, especially with a ripper. With a heavy stubber, it doesn't really matter. You could brace it, not brace it. It'll do the same thing. So we don't want to move forward just yet because it seems like our zealot's still struggling, and I want to make sure that he's okay. So we'll get some assails going from our psyker, which I like assail build, but I will be showcasing my friend Saren's suppression psyker build, which is just really, really disgustingly strong at making even the worst teams incredibly strong in making sure that they do not fall on higher difficulties, especially on Damnation. So we want to go down this way. You never want to go to the bottom floor. Going to the bottom floor is almost a guaranteed death sentence, because the gunners up top can actually fuck you up. And obviously you don't want that. Alright, I'm in a bad position, so I want to throw a grenade to get myself out of that bad position. Another great thing about the grenade is that it, you know, can fix mistakes. Sadly, it didn't fix my life, but, you know, it can still fix mistakes. I want to back up to my teammates because they were back a little bit and I'm a little bit weak. So this is not the best for me, but it is what it is. And we keep progressing. So that is a Plague Ogryn. We also have a Horde coming in, so that's even worse. So obviously if you can hit it, hit the weak spot with your gun. So we just want to suppress all this and clear it out as soon as possible. And let our teammates deal with the Plague Ogryn, because we want to make sure that these minions do not fuck us up. But they are also fucking our teammates up. Fuck. Dog got on me. Yep, I saw that coming. Unfortunate. There's a dog. I pinged it. Hopefully they see it and kill it. That's one of the things that I don't like about the way that that specific weapon for the zealot, or not the zealot, the psyker plays out. It just doesn't feel very beneficial. Alright, now we'll hammer into it and get it down. Now, you might be questioning why the fuck did I just say earlier in the, you know, the thing if you're listening to the audio, why I said never to focus into enemies with my gun like infested, yet there I was just focusing into infested with enemies. And it's just because of the suppression. You want to make sure that your teammates can focus on something, and sometimes the best thing they can focus on is the Ogryn. or the monstrosity, while you focus on everything else. Because as long as you're doing that, you're keeping the hordes off of them, and nobody's getting meleeed in the back, and nobody's getting, you know, completely butt-fucked, and they don't feel like they're completely useless. Because that can happen a lot when you're playing some of the other classes. It feels like you're really geared for something, like, specific. And some people are really geared for monstrosities. And that's how people want to play. They want to have that huge power fantasy. And again, with my builds, that's not the whole idea. The whole idea is team building and being able to be the middleman between everything. I'm also sorry if there's like little minor cuts here and there, just because I'm disabled. I'm sick. Sometimes I make some pained grunts, some noises during commentary, and you'll see little cuts out here and there. Just because I'll have my editor just like cut that little section out. But these will probably be completely unaltered and unadulterated commentaries. So again, I'm sorry for being disgusting, but it's one of the downsides being disabled. You're kind of disgusting to some people with some of the things you do. Ah, fuck, and then dodge it. That's okay. He just shoved me, so I can point blank it in the face. Hordes coming in, so what we want to do is we want to clear up these guys to help the hordes. We're sadly out of ammo. But everybody else is doing fairly well, and they were able to take care of the bulwark, so we were able to just get in there with melee. And then we'll just keep continuing forward and messing these guys up as we press on. So we really want to find some ammo, because these guys aren't going to drop an ammo kit for us. But if you are playing a Ogryn and you find an ammo cache, just drop it whenever you run out of ammo. 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to care or be happy with you playing a certain way, and they're just going to kind of negate it. They're going to pick up the ammo when they see it, because they're like, well, you know, I'm not really paying attention. Oh. That was really nice of that zealot. He pinged the ammo for me. It's not a lot of ammo, but it'll give me a clip at least. Well, I got netted. That was unfortunate. But it did pull me back up, so. Somehow that mutant didn't grab me. And, you know, sometimes that'll happen too for you guys if you are playing. If you are not its intended target, but you're in the hitbox range, it'll just go through you. Again, you want to utilize walls against mutants. As long as you are near one, when you dodge, it'll automatically bonk into the wall. It won't change direction. It won't try to do anything crazy to mess you up. It'll be really beneficial. Alright. I'm going to pop through here and get in before the horde comes, so that way we could do this. And then something you could do is sometimes if you watch, enemies will come through here, close enough for you to melee. Sometimes they won't. But something to watch for. It's especially useful during hordes and stuff. Alright, so we want to press forward. We want to just lay down some pressive fire. And up ahead is where they're, you know, getting a lot of the damage done because they got the oppressive fire. And then we're doing the same thing now again. We're just going to keep moving forward. All braced. Finger on the trigger just to add all that suppression in, especially during the hordes. So we got a bunch of gunners over there. Grenade it. Let it go. It'll kill everything in there. And then that way we don't have to worry about it. And we can focus on the big threats, which is just the hordes. Now that it suppressed them, they went suppressed. And now I can move in, the team can clear up. As you can see, it's almost always just completely worth to just save those grenades, be greedy with them for situations like that. So if I can be greedy again and get another grenade, we'll be looking spiffy and good. But we'll add in that suppression again. So that way people can move forward into this little side room. So because we're low on toughness, we're going to brace and then just start shooting, so that way we can get all our toughness back. Even though it's a little bit, it's better than none. And then obviously we'll just keep moving forward, swap to our melee again, and then we're good to go. Back to this, back to the melee, and we're good. So there's an ammo thing there. We're going to take a heal because this is the last heal station before the boss. And there we go. This will be mentioned in the tips and tricks video, but again, if things can happen and I can talk to you guys as it goes on, I'll explain it. But when you are in this next section, you're against anything with a shield. Specifically, the only thing with shields right now are obviously assassination targets. But shields take double damage from melee, take normal damage from ranged attacks. Very much just like us. So what you want to do is you want to rush, get up on the target. If you got a med kit, toss that bitch down and pin your back up against the wall. He'll force you into the wall and you can keep meleeing while you're getting yeeted down. It's really nice. So double med kits, you'll heal twice as fast. And then he'll eventually get over here and hop down. There you go. As you can see, the melee is already going really strong. We're already really good. Getting it in. So we're getting a little far away because he has focus on Antoine here. Or Emma, whatever the fuck. I'm just going to call him Antoine. I don't really care. Anyway, you can see that the focus is really hard on him. He would be better off pulling back to that medkit, but since we're actually a pretty strong team, we don't really need to worry about it. And then we'll just finish it up with our heavy stubber. Or not heavy stubber, our ripper gun. And then now we're back to here. We can sit inside the medkits. Things are coming in. We'll just focus like this. We'll just pop our ultimate, even though this is completely unnecessary. It's just so in case nobody goes down. Because you can still fail after you kill the assassination target. Be careful. There can be snipers, dogs, anything like that could come out at any point and really fuck up your day with this mission. And there you go. Obviously, I haven't played this game much since the class updates, but I still don't have some of the new penances that they came out. But I hope that you guys enjoy this build. I hope you guys really like it, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one, whether it's Veteran or Psyker, and I hope you guys take care, stay awesome. Bye, guys.